When I saw him on the news at that funeral, it made me sick.
And let me ask you this: it is customary in Christian churches for men to remove their hats. Did you notice? Not one person had a hat on except two. Those who are above all laws, man's or God's. One, Michael Jackson, the fellow who began life as a black boy and has now become a voluptuous white woman, and this creep, Elton John. The two of them kept their hats on. Would somebody please explain why the minister didn't tell them to take their hats off?
Well, they had...
It was some woman who looked somewhat mannish. Then I thought it was somebody that didn't know what to do with his purse, and so he put it on his head. What was that hair? What was that thing on that jerk's head?
All I know is when
I'm sure they're such great humanitarians. They won't mind getting rid of a couple of million they make for the music.
Oh, there's a lot of freaks out there. Tony LaRussa, the manager of the Open Days, he has turned out to be a real jerk.
I agree. What's a baseball made out of? Cowhide.
He ripped up his American Express card, he and his wife Elaine, and they shipped the remains to the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals because American Express has a publication which features fur coats.
Yeah, we live in loony times, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I hope the Oakland A's lose every game they play, even if they're playing the Yankees.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Right.
Tilton, you don't work here in this building, you jerk.
How you doing, Mr. Grant?
Yeah, you heard me. You don't work in this building.
Is that the way you greet your callers?
Yeah, that's the way I greet fake, phony frauds like you.
Are you going to allow me to speak?
Yeah, I'm going to allow you to speak.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Grant, I don't understand how you're going to call Michael Jackson a white woman.
He's become a white woman. He's a very attractive white woman.
You know, you're so jealous. You are so jealous. Is that all you can say about Michael Jackson? With all these freaks that call themselves rock stars, dealing with drugs? Michael Jackson, he never dealt with drugs.
Well, wait, I wasn't insulting him. I was congratulating him.
You're calling him a faggot?
No, I don't know what his sexual preferences are, although there's some people that say he likes to do it with monkeys because he keeps a lot of monkeys on his premises, you know. He's a weird guy. He's a strange guy, let's face it.
What about the kid's mother? I look at the newspaper and I see Michael Jackson sitting next to the...
Let's talk about you fake phony fraud. You told me, I work in your building. I'm 6 feet 4, I weigh 250 pounds. My name is Tilton. Tilton.
6'6".
Oh, 6'6". He grew.
And 60 pounds.
260 pounds, and he grew, yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, you want to let me finish? Well, what about the kid's mother? She's sitting next to Michael Jackson, and she's smiling. What about that?
Well, if she's smiling with her son in his coffin, that's a big weird.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, Tilton. Hey, Tilton, you jerk. You're off the line. I hung up on you. I could stand you only so much, you fake phony fraud. That's the guy who called a couple of weeks ago claiming he worked in the building and he was going to get me. I found out there is nobody by that name working for the building. Jerry, hello.
Yeah, Mr. Grant, is your toupee biodegradable?
Oh, it's Jerry again, the guy that...
Hi, Bob.
Jerry, I didn't mean to talk while you were speaking. Go ahead, Jerry. Keep it up. Keep talking about the toupee. Go ahead.
How's it hanging, Bob?
The toupee. The toupee. Let's all say it a million times. Ready?
Yeah.
Toupee. Very good. You keep saying it over the weekend, you jerk. Stand in the corner and say it a million times. This is the Funny Farm, folks, otherwise known as the Bob Grant Program. Howard, hello.
Just a little background on me. I'm a nurse. I'm a mother. I'm a Republican. I agree with most everything you say on your show, Bob. But I have to say one thing about the prejudice you hold and seems your caller holds for gay people.
Gay people? Who's talking about gay people at that time?
I think that we were referring to the deviant actions of Elton John in that conversation, and who cares what Elton John does behind closed doors.
Well, I don't know what Elton John does behind closed doors, but I know in public he wears these idiotic hats.
I agree with that.
And I don't think he and Michael Jackson had any right to keep their hats on in church.
No, and I'm Catholic, and I don't believe that either. I think
so you know what? Shame on you, Betsy, because your imagination got the better of you.
It was a long drive home, Bob, but if I could make my point.
Well, you can make your point, but there's nothing to make it about.
Well, I think that I've more than one time heard you refer to the gay community as being less than human, if I could refer to it that way.
Well, I haven't.
And I just have to say...
Well, we weren't talking about the homosexual community.
Well, you
were talking about Elton John and that idiotic hat he wore.
Well, I don't know. If you've got a tape there and you want to replay it, it seemed to me that there was a lot more said than just that.
Oh, cut it out, you jerk.
I'm not a jerk.
You are. You're a jerk.
I don't get you as a patient sometimes, sir. I try to look at everybody as a...
Oh, my foot.
Hold on now.
Go ahead with your self-righteous, ignorant arrogance.
It certainly isn't.
I can't stand dumbness.
It isn't dumbness at all. You're not educated and people in general, I don't think.
How dare you say I said something I didn't say? How dare you?
I've never been yelled at on the telephone.
Well, that's too bad. You're being yelled at right now.
And if it were, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible disease that I've seen people die from.
And it's costing us a bundle. You know those poor people who are in Blue Cross have their rates raised over and over again because of these people with AIDS?
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have started this conversation by referring to the gentleman caller, just that that's what got me thinking about this. On the way home, I decided that I had to call you because you are constantly talking about people who take advantage of our society and people who are on welfare and this, that, and the other thing. I can tell you as a whole, I think that the gay population...
Again, we weren't talking about gays.
I am starting...
What is this obsession you have with the homosexual community?
Well,
why do you keep talking about it? We weren't even mentioning it, for heaven's sake.
This little boy died of AIDS is why we started talking about it.
Well, he wasn't gay. He had Homophobia. And because some gay person donated blood, he got AIDS.
Right. But I want to start a section B of my comments, then, if I may. Suddenly, within the last 10 years, fall into this horrible disease, and a lot of them are dying. On the other hand...
Well, if they wouldn't put you-know-what, you-know-where, they wouldn't have gotten it.
Fine. I'll give you that much. But on the other hand, they don't do anything to the rest of this society.
Not much they don't.
Look
what they did to Brian White. Look what they did to Ryan White.
Well, I don't think they did it. I think it was a it's an unfortunate situation that he happened to get some bad blood. You could come down with hepatitis if you'd gotten to a hospital and we did something wrong for you. So, there's a lot...
I'm a Jehovah's Witness, so I don't get blood transfusions.
You are not. I know you're not. Anyway, my point is that let's stick up where some people just... groups of people are looked down upon. There's really no reason other than the fact that these poor people are dying like...
Poor people? They're not dying?
They are dying.
Oh, they're dying.
I watched them die.
I see.
And my point to you is...
It took a long time. You hear about somebody getting AIDS, and meanwhile, 10 years later, he finally dies.
Well, maybe that's the fortunate part. I don't know. I'm not here to debate that. I wanted to stick up to some degree for what everybody in this country seems to be, I don't know, downing.
Now you just said it. You don't know.
I just think it's an unfortunate situation when all you can do is say something negative about these gay people. They are
very
decent people. They're not bringing our economy down. They're not doing...
once again, Betsy, who sent for you for this speech?
I just felt like saying it myself, that's all.
What do you have?
I feel somebody needs to say something positive.
You can go make dinner now. Go make dinner now.
Hold on, Mr. Grant.
You go make dinner, will you?
My dollars on paying for them to be on welfare, that makes me happy. Is that goodbye? Is that goodbye? To think that I'm paying for this call is insane, isn't it?
Blame them. Why should I want them to touch me if I had AIDS? I wouldn't want them to touch me.
You'd want them to take care of you if you had AIDS?
No, I wouldn't. You know what I'd do?
What?
I'd get a gun, and I'd do society a favor.
Are you Catholic?
What does that got to do with anything?
I can't imagine that you could be this malice against human
come on.
beings.
Cut it out with the
Hey, I'm
Catholic.
not any, wonderful person, but on the other hand, these are people we're talking about.
Thank you for the call and your bleeding heart and your and your platitudes.
Maybe a doctor will call you one day.
Thank you for your platitudes.
Maybe a doctor will call you one day and explain
One day my doctor will call. Thank you. Have a nice. Come on out to the Rio Diner tomorrow, will you?
Is that right? Where's that?
Hey,
don't be a little weasel
why
jerk.
don't you go drop $1 in front of your friend?
Why do you call a? Why do you listen to me, Tim?
Why don't you just drop it?
Tim, I asked you a question. Why do you listen to me?
In front of Teddy Lakankis, and then
why do you listen to the program, Tim?
Enjoy yourself tomorrow with your...
Why do you listen to the program, Tim? You can't answer the question.
Your friend is a fudge packer, and so are you. Goodbye.
Roy, Tim is going to be persona non grata. I know we keep changing screeners every time we turn around, but we have two in the control room right now. Jay and Roy. Tim is persona non grata. I don't want to ever talk to Tim again. He's a scumbag. This is Bob Grant. I hate people.
hate people. I detest them. I deplore them.
And until tomorrow, remember, your influence counts. Use it. Get Castro.
Giving stats on various ethnic groups. Now, he said that the Russian Jew and I believe it was the Japanese are far superior in intellect, with the white man, the European, being slightly below them. Do you give any credibility to that?
Well, first of all, I don't know what professor you're making up here. I don't know who that was.
No, it is. I don't recall the guy. He's been on.
You don't recall the guy?
I don't recall his name, but he's been on various programs.
Oh, he's been on various programs. Well, gee, I don't know, Ralph.
One more
Ralph, I find you hard to take. You know that.
No, I know that. Just one more thing, because
I mean, you sound like you auditioned for the Dead End Kids. You got turned down, and ever since you've been trying to prove that you deserve to be there.
One more quote. Just one more quote. But one more thing, you're in good company with Shatner, Reynolds, Cosell, because you have the hairpiece. You know that, right, Bob? And yours is not even top rate, though.
Shatner? Who's Shatner?
William Shatner. He has a good hairpiece.
Yeah, his
decent one.
His is better than mine, Ralph.
But yours is a little bit like on the stringy side.
You know what, Ralph? You're a real two-bit greaseball Gavon jerk. Get off my phone. It's 17 minutes before 6 on WABC. I knew Ralph was going to get to the real reason he called eventually, and sure took him a long time. He's a sick skunk. I hope he croaks.
Oh.
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Bob, my name is Frank. This myth about John Wayne being Mr. Patriotism, okay? John Wayne has won the war in the Pacific. John Wayne won the war at Iwo Jima. He was in the battle for D-Day. You know where that guy spent his war years? In a ranch in Mexico with his 4 kids. And he was...
I think most people know that these were motion pictures, but what precipitates your...
Me?
With all the other things to complain about, what are you complaining about?
I'm one of 4 brothers.
No, but what? I don't want your family history. I want to know what happened on this date, April 27th, 1990, years and years after the guys. What's your problem? What's precipitating
you on a number of occasions, Bob, and you've been very, very
What's
busy.
precipitating your problem today?
It just came to my mind, Bob.
It just came to your mind.
It came to my mind. I'm getting on in years, and I said...
You sure are. You're into senility when that's all that bothers you.
No. There's a couple of American Legion posts that have taken the position out in the Midwest of bringing this guy down a couple of pegs because he's been Mr. Patriotism all these years. Bob, I'm one of 4...
He never went around. Hey, look.
That's all.
Frank, he never...
That's my opinion, Bob. That's all you have to have.
Frank...
You can weigh it any way you want.
Frank,
yes, sir.
He never... John Wayne never went around saying, hey, look, I was a real hero. I was in the war.
Oh, come on. There wasn't there wasn't one actor in Hollywood
Frank,
who played more war parts than John Wayne.
But what has that got to do with a guy claiming that he did it in real life?
I'm not saying he claimed he did it in real life.
So you're mad at him because Hollywood... Oh, get off the phone, you Gavon, for crying out loud. What a jerk. How stupid. There's a guy mad at John Wayne because he made all those war movies. John Wayne never went around saying he was a real hero. Never once did he say that. So he made the movies. I'm mad at John Wayne. He made all those guys. You call again, Frank. I'll come out there, find out where you are, punch your nose right down your throat. How stupid.
The guy called up yesterday and said about this article in the papers.
You know what pander means, Ron?
Well, you're giving in to liars.
Giving in to liars?
Right. These are liars. Mr. Grant, if some black guy beat up a white guy with a baseball bat or stabbed him, or some white guy beat up a black guy or stabbed him, it would have been in every paper in Jersey. Mr. Grant, you know that.
No, I don't know that.
Mr. Grant.
I don't know that, and don't put words in my mouth, Ronald. I don't know that.
That is.
And how dare you call them liars?
They are lying.
Why? How do you know? Do you have proof that these incidents didn't happen? Do you have proof that these incidents didn't happen?
Mr. Grant, do they have proof?
You're calling them liars. Do you have proof that it didn't happen?
Mr. Grant, they are lying.
Get off my phone, you jerk.
Mr. Grant.
I'll give you Mr. Grant. Go keep drinking some more cheap whiskey and burn your throat out the rate you're going. You're not going to have any more vocal cords left. Harvey, Jay Diamond's impression impersonation of Il Supremo is so uncanny that we got a call from Il Supremo's office wanting to know what had gone on because some Gavons had called Il Supremo's office complaining about what the governor had said. Now, we had told you that it was Jay Diamond doing his impression of Il Supremo. We never mentioned Mario Cuomo. We never said the governor. We said, here he is, Il Supremo. You Gavons are getting dumber by the minute. Anyway, Jay Diamond's impression is so good of him and of the president, former president, Ronald Reagan. It's uncanny. And he does a pretty good head count. He doesn't do me too well, but hey, he comes as a little, he does it almost as well as Rich Little did.
I'm not a stooge.
Why the buttering? Why the diaphanous buttering up? You are well read. You read well. I'm sure you read, and then you say the guy's book. Hey, you know what? He's here plugging his book. He's all over like horse manure on every station he can get, on every program he can get to plug his book. And all he's doing is saying the same thing over and over again. If you want to know what he says in this book, just reread Uncomfortable Questions for Comfortable Jews. It's the same thing. No, it's not different at all.
No, it's different.
It's the same diatribe. By the way, I saw him here yesterday. He is becoming a fat slob.
Well, I saw him earlier this week, and I don't think he's fat at all.
Really? Where are you from, Joseph?
He's the only man.
Yeah, what are you doing in my country, Joseph?
I think he's your country.
Yeah.
What?
On WABC, I'm getting a little tired of that phony British accent. Sam, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yes, Bob, I think it's time for Christians and Jews to really join together and realize... Hello, Bob?
I'm here. Are you on a payphone?
Yeah, let me just drop a quarter in. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. If we get too many more clicks, I'm going to hang up on you.
Okay, that's it. And join together and realize that it was the Arabs that murdered hundreds of thousands of Christians in Lebanon and joined under the banner of Meyer Kahane's communism.
I knew it. We were coming with back-to-back with two stooges of Kahane. Pipsqueak, and I have no use for you. You understand that, you skunk? You vile skunk! On WABC.
Affirmative action is not only for blacks.
Oh, cut it out. Cut it. Don't tell me it's not only for that. Don't tell me that, for heaven's sake.
And their children benefit from affirmative action.
Oh, my foot. Get off my phone, freak. On WABC, I can't stand that. That guy calls for that same stuff all the time. Jeff, hello.
I have the honor and privilege of meeting you and those wonderful people from Bob Grant Country. You asked me what I thought of Nelson Mandela. And I'll only repeat it because what you've said today only reinforces that he's a fake, fraud, phony, and a hypocrite. A vile, loathsome, disgusting, despicable hypocrite. And that there's no constitutional law that says that we have to laud and heap praise upon this man. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I always thought that as Americans we have the right to think and say what we believe, and we don't have to grovel before the new Messiah that they're giving this ticker tape parade for in Manhattan next week. You know, Noah Deer and his friends should not be out there protesting Mandela because of only his meeting with Arafat. Remember, this is a man who met with Gaddafi, who is an enemy of America. Every American should be out there. Gaddafi was responsible for the slaughter of innocent Americans by supporting terrorist squads. And if Mandela isn't a hypocrite, then how could this man embrace a fiend thug like Fidel Castro, the worst human rights violators in the world? Do you think for a second that if Mandela was in Cuba, he would have gotten this far? Why, if he was in Fidel Castro's Cuba, Castro would have dispatched him very quickly and efficiently with a bullet. And it is a disgrace when the mayor of this city has to give underhanded type of warnings as the people can't protest. He didn't say anything for months while those economic scavengers have been out there in Flatbush protesting against an innocent individual. And I think it is our right and our privilege and our duty to do whatever we feel is right as an American. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Right on target. Right on target. I was able to watch with you, if that's what you chose to do, the television coverage. Not only did I watch it yesterday, but I watched it today, of the visit from South Africa of Nelson Mandela. Now, I don't know how to make this any clearer, except to say, in spite of my reservations about this man, and I don't compare him to Moses or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, as one pathetic news reporter did. I don't compare him to Neil Armstrong, as another pathetic reporter did. But he, as a person, seems to have many likable traits. He seems to be a man of refinement. He seems to carry himself with a certain elegance and a certain patrician manner, which many of his idolaters would do well to emulate. He could teach many people in this country a few lessons on speech making, on politeness, on courtesy. Having said that, let me say that I was nauseated by the coverage. I'd like to know why channels 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, except for the Met game, felt it necessary to cover every single moment of his visit here. Why they are preempting all of their regularly scheduled programs and sacrificing great amounts of money. For what purpose? Who are they trying to impress? Are they pandering to the black community? Do they really think it is that newsworthy? And Channel 7, shame on you, Channel 7. When other channels stopped carrying that show from St. John the Divine, Channel 7 kept the cameras rolling over there. And naturally, the National Council of Churches was sponsoring the affair, and if you don't know now, you should be apprised of the fact the National Council of Churches is a organization riddled with communists and communist-loving lefto, pinko weirdos. But why such coverage? Why such? I really don't understand. I'd like to ask the people in this audience, and I'm not just talking about any person of a particular hue. I'd like to ask the people in this audience, if you are that interested, if you're hanging on every word that the man says. By the way, he made his speech about, he told us right off the bat that the sanctions must continue. He told us right off the bat that apartheid, in many respects, still exists in South Africa. He told us right off the bat that he will not consider himself free until he's able to go to the polls and vote. He told us that at JFK Airport from the very moment he touched down to all those tush-kissing scoundrels. And by the way, speaking of tush-kissers, I was absolutely ashamed of Il Supremo. I think Mario Cuomo, his arrogance in Albany, I think he hit an all-time low for pandering. The guy's running for president, as you well know. And if you don't know, well, remember I told you first. He's running for president. He has such contempt for the people of New York and such contempt for the political opposition that he knows he can run and win a third term as governor and turn around virtually the very next day and say, you know what, I've decided that the only way to really do a job for New York is to go to Washington, therefore my stooge Stanley Lundeen is going to sit in. He's going to take the oath of office. Well, that's coming up. But anyway, I thought Il Supremo acted like a a real panderer yesterday. A real sleazeball. Let's see, what else? What else you want me to tell you? I'll quote one report on Mandela himself. Quote, he may be a brave fighter against apartheid, but his past activities and present alliances should alarm, not awe, free men. Put not your trust in princes, the Psalms tell us. We are about to cast aside that wise counsel as we feat the latest Marxist messiah. Mandela is receiving all the plaudits. He got a Broadway parade. By the way, lost in the maze of announcements about what he's going to do, you probably don't even know that while he's here, he will meet with President Bush. He will address Congress, honors never accorded to Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Have we not been here before when Fidel Castro, hero of the Cuban Revolution, came to New York? A nightly vigil was held outside his hotel. In the 60s, college students had wall posters of Che Guevara, the Uncle Ho, the George Washington of his country. Danny Ortega and his designer glasses was the toast of Hollywood. And now with each exposed as a bloody fraud, our politicians and press are falling all over one another to touch the hem of the garment of the great Mandela. Yes, Mandela may be a brave fighter against apartheid, and 27 years in prison may have given him a courage and dignity few African leaders exhibit, but his past activities and present alliances should alarm, not awe, free men. Nelson Mandela was never a political prisoner. He was captured with explosives used in sabotage. He has endorsed terrorist tactics. His comrades in the African National Congress, he now concedes, have tortured and murdered their own in exile. His closest confidant, wife Winnie, is a hater who rejoiced in the necklacing of ANC enemies, a practice that entails burning alive collaborators by draping around their necks tires filled with gasoline and igniting them often after the victim's arms are cut off. With our necklaces, we shall liberate this country, the mother of the revolution said in 1986, the year she toasted Moscow as torchbearer for all our hopes. And recently, the Soweto sweetheart was implicated in the beating and murder of a 14-year-old boy at her palatial home while Mandela was in prison. The ruling council of the ANC also overlaps neatly with the South African Communist Party, whose boss, Joe Slovo, Mandela calls, quote, one of our finest patriots. We are heartened, he said, after leaving prison, that the alliance between ourselves and the Communist Party remains as strong as it has always been. Whom does Mandela admire? On foreign trips, he singles out three men, Arafat, Gaddafi, Castro. During all my years in prison, Cuba was an inspiration and Comrade Fidel Castro a tower of strength. There is one thing where that country, Cuba, stands out head and shoulders above the rest. That is in its love for human rights and liberty. You know who spoke those words? That's right, Nelson Mandela. Of Arafat's piano just said, we are in the same trench, struggling against the same enemy, the twin Tel Aviv and Pretoria regimes, apartheid, racism, colonialism, and neo-colonialism. When Jews protested, he shot back, if the truth alienates the powerful Jewish community in South Africa, that's too bad. Where in Africa have men with the alliances and ideas of Nelson Mandela not led their nations to darkness and death? Nkrumah in Ghana, Nyerere in Tanzania, Mengistu in Ethiopia, Kwanda in Zambia, Mugabe in Zimbabwe, Amin in Uganda, and dozens more have converted the dark continent into what historian Paul Johnson has aptly named Caliban's Kingdom. And Mandela's economic ideas? The nationalization of the mines, the financial institutions, the monopoly industries, is the fundamental policy of the ANC, and it is inconceivable that we will ever change that policy, he said in April. Surely there's a formula for the ruin of South Africa and the exodus of its white minority. One South African who admires Mandela told Pat Buchanan, "It is a fact that we need 5% real growth in South Africa to provide work for the 400,000 blacks who are added annually to our labor pool. If banks are nationalized, the necessary investment will not be made, and because we have no safety net, our blacks will starve." In a manifestation of our moral double standard, we impose on the reform government of F.W. de Klerk sanctions we never imposed on the squalid dictatorships that have pockmarked all sub-Sahara South Africa. Simon Barber, South African correspondent for Business Day, reports that at a recent CIA meeting, Herman Cohen, Assistant U.S. Secretary of State, declared it to be U.S. policy to tilt to the ANC. Barber's assessment of George Bush's administration, cleanly filleted of spine, cleanly filleted of principle, vision, even solid intelligence, and analysis. The ideas Nelson Mandela espouses would make it impossible to look upon what is going to be happening there as a move towards real democracy. Pat Buchanan suggests that George Bush should close the Oval Office door and tell Nelson Mandela a few of these things, but he, like me rather, knows that he won't do that. Anyway, it's 21 minutes now past. Oh my gosh, I'm sick.
Why are you sick?
What you just said.
Why?
Why? We're talking about abnormal activity here. We're talking about aberrant behavior.
Well, I think that homophobia is aberrant, and I think that you're fairly homophobic in saying something like that.
I think that
love between any two people is an admirable thing, and there's damned little of it in the world.
I see. Well, we know where you're coming from then.
Well, I don't know. I think that we know where you're coming from. Exactly. My problem is that I've being extremely rude on a public.
Listen. My problem is that I've called aberrant behavior what it is, aberrant behavior. What do you want? What is this, Alice in Wonderland? We're going to say up is down, down is up?
I had been given to understand, and I'm a professor of epidemiology at a major university, that we were going to be talking about a public health campaign, and I regret that I've been set up.
What set up? Wait a minute. What do you mean set up? Hello? He hung up. I don't know what he meant by set up. But is the guy a homosexual? Must be. How indignant. How absolutely indignant. Guy talks about men being in love like a man and a woman. I don't see the comparison. I don't equate them. I guess that makes me all... Well, you're homophobic. Immediately, I'm homophobic. Homophobic. Oy vey. Al, you're on WABC. Hello. Our newsbreaker ended summarily. Hello. He gets mad at me and hangs up on me because I call homosexual behavior aberrant behavior. We're talking about anal sex with a man and another man. To me, that's aberrant. I don't mean to change the subject with you, Al. I know you're interested in international affairs.
No.
But I mean, it's just part and parcel of the crazy world we live in. And then you get a Schlesinger who says that the Yalta agreements are finally being lived up to.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
South Africa, yeah. Well, the hypocrisy is just overwhelming, and the cowardice of the press, of the media, is just overwhelming. You know, everybody's so afraid of being called a racist. that they suspend judgment, they dismiss logic, they abjure courage, and they just become malleable little wimps.
Well, it's about the Bush-Mandela meeting today in Washington. I saw the news on CNN, and they were talking about the trying to back the VIMBY.
Yes.
And, when are they going to get to the main issue on the lies you tell about WLIB?
I think that comes up at about 6 o'clock.
You're a Gavon.
On WABC, let's say hello to Jack. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Bob.
Yes.
Listen, I know how to make bald-headed men enjoyable to look at, and they can have the color they want and the design I want by having it tattooed on their head.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about people having hair, and when the tattooed nail goes to their head.
Get off, you sick old Marie's. And if you notice, as we get to the end of the line, not always, but quite often, more often than not, as we get to the end of the line, the IQ of the caller seems to diminish. It's as though most of the audience says, okay, we're getting to the end of the line, I'm going to stop calling, I want to save a phone call. But the morons, the idiots, the real Gabons, the people who are in the final stages of their pitiful existence, they're still calling. Joseph, I don't know what category you're in, but we'll try you.
About the United States. Also, I know for a fact from your very own words that Rabbi Kahane didn't lie to you, because you said after that incident, you said the problem with Kahane is he's become a chazer, and you could tell him that he can't be on any other shows and my show at the same time. Now, if he had lied to you, then you wouldn't have said those words after the incident. It's not nice of you to say he lied when he didn't.
When he didn't, when he wouldn't. Listen, you little pipsqueak, you little limp-wristed pipsqueak. Come on down here, I'll slap you in the face, will you?
He did not lie to you.
Get off my phone, you little putrid pipsqueak. Herb, you're on WABC. Hello.
Another Kahane stooge?
Yeah, well, see, the two of them usually call in tandem.
Right.
Probably they're holding hands. Holding hands in a picture show when all the love. What's on your mind, Herb?
I don't want to spend extra money to call you, but I couldn't believe you said it, Bob. Until then, I agree with most of the things that I couldn't believe you said. I mean, what's the difference between a woman with white dress or a dark dress?
Well, first of all, let me say to the audience, the people listening, this guy is a put-on.
I'm not a put-on.
You're a fake, you're a phony, you're a fraud.
You're a jerk.
You're pretending.
Listen, I'm not pretending nothing. I'm telling you, this is what I heard you say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You Gavon.
You know, I tell you, I should be gratified, because this means the ratings are going high, because since the Gabons outnumber the intelligent people by 200 to 1, and since I have all the Gabons, that means I have the biggest audience. What is there about me that attracts lowlifes like that guy? I wonder what it is. I'm beginning to worry about myself.
Charlie, have a nice afternoon, okay? But I think,
Hey, listen, pal, are you going to be at Lemaire? Are you going to be at Lemaire Friday?
Because if I come there, I'm going to hit you right on.
Yeah, my foot. Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, Phil. I don't claim to be the toughest guy in the world, but I'll tell you what, I'll take you any day. I'll take you any day. Just sign a waiver. Just sign a waiver that you won't sue me for assault, because I'd mash your face. Get off my phone! You jerk. This is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Get that skunk, Saddam Hussein. Get him. Kill him. It's 6 o'clock. If a person, I go through this every time, and scum like you come out of the woodwork because you
stick up to somebody like that.
Yeah, I'll take him to you, you jerk.
Listen, very interesting. There are people like that on juries to decide cases.
Yeah, well, he's the guy that was the holdout. He's the guy that
you can't even use the old standby. The blacks, won't convict other blacks. It wasn't even that case this time.
Yeah, but a double gated guy like this, a freak like him, all bets are off. You get it?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Okay. For today, until tomorrow, Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Get Saddam Hussein. He's a skunk. It's 6 o'clock.
Now listen here. First deception in order to get in the line, because of this moron that you got working. What happened to Fredericks and Jerry, the two greatest people in the world?
Well, I don't think Bill Bryson, who is our screener at the moment, I don't think he's a moron. He's a very capable guy. He's one of my all-time favorites.
He's a moron, and he turns people against you. I had so many things to tell you, and that he's not a professional.
Bill would never do that.
Well, anyway, he says, I hate his guts, but the reason why I called is to wish you bon voyage and have a wonderful time in Europe.
Thank you.
And listen to me, Buzzard Face.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to finish with you. You know, I can't fly on the airlines no more. They banned me from all the airlines.
You're banned?
You didn't hear what happened?
No, why are you banned, Arnold?
Well, I was on the airline, and this kid was running up and down the aisle and pinching me and poking me, and I says, come here, sweetheart. Why don't you play outside? You got the point?
So you're banned, okay.
I'm sorry for the deception, but as soon as possible, extinguish that insect that you have on the phone. He's disgusting, and bring back... What happened to Jay? Is he getting his own show?
Oh, you weren't listening earlier.
No, I didn't hear.
Commencing September 5th.
Thank God.
Jay Nunn will be the morning host from 6 until 10.
That's because of your genius.
That's right.
And no one... And let me tell you something, Bobby Soggs. The longer I listen to you, the more I realize that it's not an easy thing you do. You are truly a genius, and I challenge anybody in the business, Bobby Soggs, to shine your shoe.
Uh-huh. Well, listen, we start with Jay. I'll restructure the rest of the day. I'll turn this into a Bob Grant winning station.
You got it. Now listen, instead of getting Hussein, get this guy on the telephone. He's a weasel.
Bill Bryson? Okay.
Bye, Bobby Sharp.
All right.
Have a nice job.
Well, Arnold doesn't like it, Bill, but I still like it. That's all that counts. You can hear any kind of half-baked, idiotic, convoluted, inane suggestion. That's what we're here for. We obviously don't give sanity tests to our callers. Obviously, we don't give IQ tests to our callers. Obviously. I'm here. Your influence counts. Use it. Get Saddam Hussein. It's 6 o'clock.
Laughing at all these things, but I know they bother you. A lot of people out there dislike you. You are such a small man. When you know you're laughing, but you know that it gets to you. I hope when you get on the plane, I'm sorry those other people have to go with you, that you'll never come back. The world can be good. It would be good with a person like you in it.
I must be a big guy. I would make that much
shut up,
difference.
stupid. You have
No. I mean, there's a limit to what I'm going to put up with, you know. It's a limit. Eric, you're on WABC. Hello.
How you doing, Bob? How's your moth-eating gallbladder from eating that cardboard Nutrisystem crap? How's it going, Bob?
Oh,
hey, Bob,
guy,
when you're
was on the other day, and he was a pain in the neck. There's another guy like Arnold violating the once-a-week rule. Neil, you're on WABC. Hello.
You know, Bob Grant, I've been listening to you a long time. You talk real big, all right? Why don't you come to the Bronx? We'll see how big you are, how tough you are, you little sissy right-wing bigot, all right? Why don't you come around the Bronx? Why you stay in Manhattan in your little island there? You don't want to come around, huh, Bob? What's the matter, Bob? You scared, Bob? You scared to talk to people face to face, huh? You little homo, huh? What do you say about that, huh? But come on, Bob. Come to the Bronx. Walk in 181st Street Grand Concourse. See if you live with that little $98 suit you got. You jerk. Your mother should be ashamed she had you.
On WABC, it's the gag hour, as you can tell, and the gag hour does appeal to Gavon's, obviously, as Neil demonstrated. I doubt that's his real name.
Bob, first thing, you're too lenient with your callers. I don't think you really put them to the test enough. You should be more daring with your callers. Put them on the spot. Second thing is you always kiss up to your guests. You say you wait to get them in the studio. When they come in the studio, you never do anything to them. Well, the only ones you do things to are, I think it was Dr. Anonymous and this woman who was on the other week, people who can't stand up for themselves. I want to see your guests being carried out in body bags. The next thing, I want you to be more intellectual with your callers. I want you to let your callers espouse different ideas, different things. I know it's a dictatorship, but be a benevolent dictator. Then you tell these people that you're going to punch their faces down the throat. I'm scared. One day one of these people might come up to the studio and punch your face down the throat. Everyone knows you leave through the back door anyway. Use your superior debating skills with these people. Don't pour the coffee and make believe like you're urinating. Make them look like idiots through your superior debating skills.
This is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts, use it. Get Saddam Hussein.
I miss you so much, thank God. Things are back to normal, and you're in town, and you're controlling New York City. All those Martin kangaroo tusks was terrible when you was gone. They should just close ABC and let you run the whole thing. You know what I mean, sweetheart. Now listen, I want a favor of you. Arnold's got a heel spur. And I remember you talking about this doctor that saves the peoples with the heel spur.
That's right.
Well, could you recommend him to me?
Dr. Kemp?
Kemp?
Yeah, Kempe.
Yeah.
And he's over on Park Avenue. I can recommend him to you.
Because I have a heel spur, it's terrible, and I know you said the man is a genius, and we're going to go take a look at him.
All right, Arnold.
Now listen, do me a favor. Talk about you. Were you at Auschwitz?
Yes, I was.
Could you kindly talk about it during the week? I'd love to hear about it.
Well, I did at the opening of the program.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, how sad.
Well, okay, thank you, Arnold.
Be a good boy.
On WABC, Bernie, hello.
Blacks that are far better looking than whites. I give you Roseanne Barr and Diane Carroll. Okay, and these are the kind.
You know why this? You know what this argument tells me. This argument tells me that you, as a black person, in spite of the fact that you're
a handsome black person,
in spite of the fact that you're intelligent, in spite of the fact that you probably are sophisticated,
I try to be.
You still have an innate sense of inferiority, which manifests itself in you making these ridiculous analogies.
Okay, it's not that I have an innate sense of inferiority. I served in a segregated service. I've lived it. I've been in the segregated South. The point is, I'm as much man as anyone else, and I'm not.
Well, why do you have to say it? Why do you have to say it? I don't have to say it. Why do you have to say it? I'll tell you why. Because I know what I am, but you're not sure what you are.
No, I refuse to be docile. I refuse to be Willie Mays. I'm going to always speak out when I see and hear injustice. I don't care where or how. That's the way I am. And
what are we supposed to do? Pin a medal on you? Who the heck sent for you, for heaven's sake?
You?
I'm going to speak out when I see injustice. What are you, the Lone Ranger? What are you, the Lone Ranger? Are you the Lone Ranger?
No, not me, not Paul Robeson, not Martin Luther King, not Malcolm X. Should they have not spoken that either?
I don't know about you, pal, but I tell you, you really have a problem. You know what your problem is?
You do too, Bob.
Well,
you do too.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem.
Sure you do.
I don't have a problem.
Sure you do. You talk about affirmative action, and you.
I don't have a problem. When I look in the mirror, I don't say, doggone it.
Huh?
Yeah, you heard me.
You don't say
get off my phone, you stupid jerk, for heaven's sake. Susan, you're on WABC. Hello. That's your point. All right. Your point is you survived the bus ride. Congratulations.
Well, my criticism of you is that sometimes when white people say that all blacks are bad, you say, you don't have to say that, but we need to say that over and over again, even though it sounds boring to you, because it's your show.
You know what I don't like? I don't like phony, hypocritical, self-serving, banal, dumb statements. That's my problem. Thank you.
I take it from his name, and I take it from...
No, I'm not talking about his name and all, and the trappings.
Well,
you think he knows anything?
I don't know.
Well, I doubt that he knows anything.
Well, listen, but the people who are named with Islamic names, it's like a clue in a way that
Hey, look, they were skunks before they turned Muslim.
They were, I believe it.
They were skunks before they turned Muslim. This isn't that they were peachy keen guys.
Okay, but...
and then turned Muslim and became skunks. They were skunks before that.
Okay, but listen, do you think there's any connection between people who are in the Islamic movement and the jihad and...
No, I don't. I don't think so, and I don't even think you know what jihad means.
Jihad is like a holy war.
Yeah, it's not like a holy war. It is a holy war.
They're not kidding about it.
Yeah.
They're not kidding about it, are they?
Yeah, you're getting on my nerves. Would you hang up, please?
No, listen, they're not kidding.
I'm hanging up on you, then. Vito. Oh. Hello, Vito.
Yeah, Mr. Grant, this is Vito Corleone. First of all, I feel sorry for you today because all the Gavoons are calling you up and they're just not spreading good cheer, Mr. Grant. And I know that you're working very hard. You're trying to do the right thing. people are getting on your nerves.
You know, Vito, voglio mazza tutti quanti. That's what I want to do.
No question about it. Sta roba si cromata e sta cosa viene con maratata e sta cosa viene cacacazarola. And that goes without saying.
Hey, this guy's really got a Sicilian dialect, this guy.
And then another thing I want to tell you. I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse us for a minute. I want to talk to Robert in Italian for 2 seconds. Bob, questa roba si cosa mi rise e sta cosa molto da spostato, no? You're right. It's no joke. The people today, what's wrong with you people out there? You're a bunch of motorams. You got to show some enthusiasm. Because it's Friday, you think, no, you got to show respect to the master, Bob Grant. If you don't like it, shut your radio off or kill yourself, or whatever you got to do. But today is the day to show respect for the master. And with this, and all this aside, I'd like to say goodbye. God bless you, and good night.
I don't know who that guy was, but he cracked me up. Alice, WABC, hello.
How'd you tell me?
Well, I wasn't aware that there was any blind disc jockey looking for work.
Well, I'm looking for work. I'm very good on the air. I'd be very professional for doing a talk show in WABC in capital cities.
Well, obviously, no requirements are needed to do a talk show. So,
and a resume and
who needs requirements? Have you heard some of the people that do talk shows?
Sure, I listen to talk radio all the time.
Yeah, well, then you know that you don't have to have any requirement, any talent, any knowledge, anything.
You need something. You have to know what's going on in the world.
Really?
Yes,
listen to some of the people, some of the alleged talk show hosts. Tell me if they know anything.
Well,
what's Jay Diamond doing here? What are you doing here, Diamond? Is that Diamond in there? Come in here. Crying out loud. I had this guy in a program doing his characterizations of Il Supremo and other things, and he gets carried away and becomes a morning star.
I wish to speak to Il Supremo because we have now instituted the transportation policies of New York City, our sister city to Johannesburg, and you will please note and respect the incident that we just had. We are trying to become more.
You know what I have to laugh? Hey, Nelson, you know what I have to laugh? Inkatha blacks are killing ANC blacks and vice versa.
Exactly.
And yet you blame the de Klerk government. How do you blame the de Klerk government? You want martial law reimposed?
If Il Supremo could teach me that he could blame everything on Washington, I can blame everything on the government of my country. He is a good teacher.
Well, it just so happens that Il Supremo was up here to record a public service announcement. And even though he doesn't particularly care to be on the air with me, we did drag him in here. Listen up with Mike. Il Supremo, it's interesting that every time you're here, Mandela calls.
I've noticed that. It's a strange juxtaposition of voices. But Nelson, listen to me and listen to me attentively.
Yes, I love you.
I love you. And go ahead.
Here.
You see, Bob, the trouble with you, the minute you come back, there's problems. The guy in the morning is a pushover. I mean, he's okay. You have to always contend with me. I've been grown accustomed in the past 2 weeks to getting away with what I want to do up here. Now I show up on your program, and you're asserting yourself. And you know how uncomfortable it makes me when people assert themselves.
I understand, yeah.
I prefer the company of people that fold like cheap cameras.
I understand.
Like Jay Diamond.
I understand that you and Flim Flam Florio were very happy that I was on 2 weeks vacation.
Are you kidding? It was like 2 weeks vacation. It was like 2 weeks vacation with pay. For me.
You were glad I was away.
Yes, I was glad you were away. I had free reign up here. I could get free sodas out of the machine. Nobody bothered me. This guy in the morning lets me do whatever I want. I can come in here every day for all he cares. I can say what I want. I can think what I want.
Be fair. He is only a capitalist tool
Nelson,
of the white racist society.
Right, let me answer you. You're right. I know about the incident to which you refer. But as usual in tragedy, in tragedy we can learn things, because even tragedies, Nelson, can be instructive. And I think the people of New York State should realize that tragedies can be instructive. Certainly people died on a commuter train in Johannesburg. I'm aware of that. But it leads us to recognize one thing, that black, white, whatever tribe you belong to, blood runs red. And every now and then, it's not a bad thing to see that all people share a common heritage of red blood. Look what Mayor Dinkins is doing in New York to illustrate the fact that people of all the mosaic colors, no matter what their race, creed, or national origin, all have red blood. Now, before Dinkins was mayor, we weren't aware of that to the extent that we're aware of that now. All blood runs red. Just look at the streets of New York every day.
Well, bless you, sir. That is what I am trying to prove here.
Hey, listen, when's the last time you saw Winnie, Nelson?
Well, I see her all the time, because in my glasses I have mirrors, because I wouldn't turn my back on her. I am very worried sometimes. Every time she wants to serve me food, I say no.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, he made you laugh, El Supremo. Nelson made you laugh.
I have to laugh because I remember the charming Winnie when I met her, when I kissed her hair, and I had no fear of her. And I'm telling you, soon, Nelson, your nation will be unified proudly under the stewardship of your First Lady over there. By the way, violence will be ended in New York City and New York State. There will be no blood running in the streets when my bill is passed through the legislature, the state legislature, making compliance with the robbery mandatory. When we get that,
I've been thinking of that here too.
Once the ID cards are issued by the state through the Motor Vehicle Bureau, robbers will have a picture ID. When that ID is flashed, it will be illegal in New York State to resist an officially sanctioned New York State robbery.
But people do not understand. In that train, the people were not carrying their identities.
Yeah.
If they had been, we would have known not to kill the ones we like.
Nelson, you're doing a great job. I thank you very much for the call.
Thank you, capitalist tool of apartheid.
Dear me. Ladies and gentlemen, this program will come to you live and direct from the Meadowlands tomorrow. Today's program originates from the East Wing of Bellevue. This is Bob Grant reminding you your influence counts. You fool! Listen to Bob. Get Saddam Hussein the Gurnud.
Black musicians. Now, do I have obviously I'm a musician, but do I have a frustration or a chip on my shoulder that's misplaced, or am I looking at things in a reverse discrimination kind of situation here?
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with you. As a matter of fact, you would be better off if you were a little loony, then you wouldn't mind this idiocy. What this is, quite frankly, is some skunk from the NAACP or some other lousy organization like that said, hey, I don't see enough black violinists, black viola players, black cellists. And they said, well, nobody came in to apply. Well, we got to get them in there. Affirmative action. That's what it is. Idiotic.
John Ellis from the Department of Education earlier. I swear to you, I'm starting to think that there must be a manufacturing plant somewhere.
But can you believe that they would say that those of us who are opposed to this tax hike, those of us who are opposed to this huge increase, are opposed because we're racist?
Of course I can believe it, Bob. It's the same routine all the time. I mean...
Well, this will backfire. I tell you this. They made a terrible mistake in doing that because the millions of New Jerseyites who feel this way are going to feel even more strongly resentful to Jimmy Florio, and those people who may have been on the fence are going to rally to our side.
I agree, and Bob, also, I usually end off by referring to a certain Japanese dinosaur, and I don't see why this time should be any different. Goodbye.
On WABC, let's go. Your influence counts. Use it. Get Saddam Hussein.
At the Lambda Defense Fund there also the following day. You had Kate Michaelman. You had Molly Yard. You had that wench from the prosecutor.
Gloria Allred. Remember her. She is so vicious, that woman.
Yeah, well, that's the one that you were talking about. I'm talking about Holtzman, however.
Yeah, Hatchet-Face Holtzman.
Yeah, right. She was there, and I did happen to see the remarkable conversation about who was rubbing whom where.
Yeah, the conversation mainly between Hatchet-Face and Senator Specter, I couldn't believe it. I said, how they have dragged down the confirmation.
Well, right. That's the whole point of it. See, when Simpson was right a few years ago when he did say that the confirmation hearings will never be the same again.
That's right.
And that was very prophetic. Like I say, it's what I call the tyranny of the minority, and you're seeing it more and more. They had that Rag the Nation, that group of the Supreme Court watch. Yeah. There's some little Lord Fauntleroy, namby-pamby was there.
Right, you are. Listen, Bob, I appreciate your call. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength, and I thank you very much. You're on WABC. Hello.
Well, I just want to register my opposition to wishes.
Can anybody understand this guy?
I want to. Are you listening?
We're listening, but we're not understanding.
Well, I just want to register my opposition to wishes.
I'm sorry, we can't make it. Can't make it.
From Fort Totten, who were sent to the Middle East, should be brought home to take care of the war in New York City where they were stationed. I think they should be assigned as a military force to patrol our streets and our subways, which would eliminate the need for more police.
Why don't we all just get Uzi machine guns and just shoot anybody that
I'm not saying that.
This hysterical kind of talk. First of all, the armed forces were not created by the United States Congress for domestic problems. They were not.
We have one.
We have one. What do you want to do? You want to put National Guardsmen, you want to put Army Reservists, you want to put people in uniform walking around with guns all over the place?
Well,
When's the last time you were attacked? When's the last time you were attacked?
Thank God I have not been attacked.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much. On WABC, I can't stand hysteria. I can't stand it.
Voting him out of office or send a message voting Democratic in New York City, which you and I both know that there's a pipe.
Well, the procedure for removing a mayor is very laborious, very cumbersome. It has to come from Albany, and that's not going to happen. You don't think El Supremo is going to allow that to happen, do you?
That's for sure.
After pandering to the black vote for all his career, you don't think he's going to jeopardize that, do you?
You're 100% right there. One other thing, 25, 30 years ago, there was a guy who used to be on talk radio, Brad Crandall. Do you remember his name?
I've heard his name, but I never heard him. He was gone by the time I came.
Yes, right. He was in the early 60s in New York radio.
Why do you bring him up?
Well, I was wondering.
Something happened? Did he fall on a bar of soap, hit his head in the bathtub?
I wonder if you know how he's doing.
Why should I know how he's doing?
Well, I thought...
Tell me, for heaven's sake, how in the world should I know how he's doing? Well, I never met the man.
I know, but I thought because he wasn't the same...
I know everybody because they're all in radio, so I know everybody.
Oh, I thought you would know. I thought you would know.
Cosa proprio no ignorando. Capone.
Okay, Bob. Thanks very much.
Not at all.
Okay. Bye-bye.
He thanks me. Oh, Vito, you're on WABC. Hello.
First of all, Bob Grant, this business about Winnie Mandela, everybody's surprised. What about Kennedy? What about Nixon? What about the swimmer? What about that pimp, Mandela-Cuomo? Why should we be surprised? We should be expected.
Well, we should be expecting what?
No, you should be expected. The people act like this, but you can't expect goodness to come out of these kangaroos and these zebras. These people are lowlife. In a town we say, am I right or wrong?
Hey, you really got the Sicilian dialect, pal.
You got it.
Yeah.
This guy has got to go, this Winnie Mandela, and all these people, they said no respect in the world. They give no respect.
You get respect, Vito?
Well, I don't get respect, but the people, they fear me.
They
and
fear
this
you.
is important.
Why do people fear you, Vito? What is there about you that people fear you?
Well, the people fear me because I'm so close to you. And you are no matter, which is punishable by death. You're the most powerful man in New York. And anybody ever says anything about Bob Grant, of course, got to answer to me and the rest of the family. That's what I'm saying. Better need it. You got it right. I don't want to waste no more of your time. I just want to show that we have respect for you and the people on WABC.
Uh-huh. Okay, Vito. Always good to hear from you. And, by the way, they got some nice plums down there on Mulberry Street.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, Toupee.
Sure.
Oh, dear, I don't know. I don't know. Carrie, you're on WABC. Hello. It's Ray checking in. Hello, Ray. Are you there, Ray? And today, until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant. I got to get out of here, reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. They're not going to do it, but anyway, get Saddam Hussein. 6 o'clock.
To turn to. And the frustration and rage in this city, Bob, grows daily. You know, I don't think that those callers who talk about the need for martial law, who call for extreme solutions, I don't consider them wackos. I consider them people who are at the end of their rope. These people are the front-line troops, the battle-hardened veterans of the mutant wars that rage daily beneath this city in the electric slum, the steel sewer known as the subways, where these people have to go down there, risk their lives, being injured, their limbs, property, being beaten, bashed, battered, murdered, assaulted daily by the mutant army that is raging beneath the subway. So of course these people are going to call for those type of solutions. There's no help coming for them. They see a court system that allows these mutants to go through a revolving door. They've been lied to. If there's such a small amount of criminals that are repeat offenders, then why are our jails overcrowded? Why aren't they put away for the rest of their miserable lives? People see a young man assaulted and murdered, Brian Watkins, in the subway, and then what happens? They see Hugh Hawley, a native New Yorker, a decent gem of a person, the true future of New York, and what happens to him? He's murdered by a mutant bag of human garbage, stabbed for $1. Is that the value of life that scum had, Bob Grant? $1? Is that the type of human garbage that we're allowing to wash upon the shores of the United States? Is that the future of this city? Well, that is, Bob Grant, and those people who call for extreme solutions, when the day comes that they see there are no other solutions, we better watch out, because I think that may very well be the future. Thank you.
Excellent. Vintage Frank. Vintage Frank. This portion, Bob.
To be a Spanish male, and I've lived.
Your father wasn't born in Spain at all.
He was. My last name is Italian. So
I don't care what your name is. I'll tell you one thing, though. You're a fake, you're a phony, you're a fraud, you're a jerk, and you're the type of guy that if I see on the street, I'd put your nose right down your throat. Get off my phone. Your influence counts. Use it. Get Saddam Hussein.
And listening to you is great.
Okay, that's it?
Well, I mean, that's it.
I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed.
I'm a buddy of hers. I wouldn't anyway.
There's some people who call me Gavon are certainly qualified because they know a lot about Gavon. Edward, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello, Bob. People with money are victimized more.
Oh, dear me.
Than people.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Go back to Booth Memorial, Ed, will you, for heaven's sake?
We're talking now concerning what the professor said, and I want to make a couple of points that people with money...
You know, Ed, you gave me a nice vacation. What are you doing back on the line again?
Well, I survived health care abuse.
Unfortunately, you did.
And the rich and the poor suffer from health care abuse. It's not just the poor. Rich and poor. Unnecessary surgery, for example.
You're right. There's a lot of unnecessary surgery.
The rich, for example, can afford more unnecessary lab tests. In fact, there was an article in the journal, the medical journal, and it's possible that the people who can afford the insurance and so forth may be getting more unnecessary lab tests and more unnecessary heart surgery. It's possible.
No, you're right, Eddie. I hate to say it, but you're right again. And the reason for that is they are so afraid of being sued.
Well, we have to have better monitoring and full accountability in health care. Must be no sacred cows. Healthcare practitioners and hospital administrators
are not above the law. And they should remember that at Booth Memorial, too.
All right, Eddie. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, they have named the right wing facing Casino Boulevard of Booth Memorial Hospital. They've renamed it the Eddie Carbone Memorial Wing. Even though Eddie is still, thank heavens, with us and will be with us for a long time. When's the last time you had a dialysis, Eddie?
Yesterday, and they human rights violation. She put the blood pump up extra higher than was good for me. It was too high, too stressful, excessive saline during blood rinse back. These people are monsters. It's wrong. And I want to tell you, in nursing homes, for example, there are people who cannot get to the phone and tell you what's going on. And we have to do something about it. Do have a good day, Bob.
Eddie, thank you for the call.
Have a good day.
All right, I'm glad Eddie called. At first I thought, oh, here we go again, but there's something therapeutic about Eddie's calls. Bob Grady.
Oh, good afternoon, Bob. I'd like to speak about the reunification of Germany that's coming up. It's a week from today, and I don't want to sound paranoid, but I've been getting strange, unusual calls, 3 in one day, from outside my area, and the person does not speak. And what I want to say is a lot of these, what they call fascist skinheads, people hurting one another, are coming out of the closet.
Why are they calling you?
I don't have any. Well, I'm a writer, as you know. I'm a veteran, and I get on the airwaves.
What do you mean I'm a writer,
I've been putting my things on the airwaves. Somebody may object.
Wait, Bill, hold it. Yeah. I don't know who you are. You say I'm a writer, as you know.
Yeah, right, okay.
All I know is you're a caller by the name of Bill. I don't know anything about you.
Right, okay. Well, what I want to say is that a lot of us did not have what they call normal lives, and my mother's entire family was lost in the Holocaust there. So to see history repeated is like a...
Well, wait a minute, hold it.
No, I really...
Wait a minute, hold it. Automatically, that means history's going to repeat itself?
No, but...
That's what unification means, automatically. We're going to do the same thing.
No. In connection with the uniting of the Germanies, we see a lot of these people coming out of the woodwork.
Who's coming out of the woodwork?
There are these people who are picking on people, and they start calling them out.
You're not making any sense.
No, I am making sense.
No, you know what you are? You got an ego problem. That's what you got.
I have no ego problem, Bob.
I'm a writer, as you know, he says. What have you written, Bill?
Bob, I've had plenty of stuff on you.
What have you... Name one thing.
I'm handicapped with osteoporosis right now for the last 2.5 years.
Okay, thank you. He's handicapped. He's a writer, but he's handicapped. He's writing about his handicap. Osteoporosis? Well, he must be a menopausal female. Nathaniel, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
What's on your mind besides how I am?
Well, I'd like to comment on a topic that I've done a little bit of research on lately, on Iraq, on the Gulf crisis and what the U.S. goals should be and are. First, I'd like to state that we should not be there. The United States should not be in the Gulf to defend Saudi Arabia or to strengthen their arsenal. Saudi Arabia, as most people know, ranks as probably the third most repressive authoritarian.
Wait a minute. We're not there because we give a hang about the King Fahd.
Right.
We're there because of the tremendous oil supply that's there, and we don't want Saddam Hussein to have control of the entire oil output. That's why we're there. Are you so naive? You think we're there because we care about King Fahd?
No. I wasn't that naive. I was just stating...
You are that naive when you talk about the repressive regime.
Well, no, they are repressive.
Maybe if they work hard, they'll become as repressive as Saddam Hussein himself.
Well, the point is that...
the point is at the top of your head, you jerk.
Excuse me, I've done quite a bit of research.
Oh, what do you mean quite a bit of research? What do you mean by quite a bit of research?
Well, I've spent some time and I've read a number of...
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Tell me, in what year did the United Kingdom manifest its mandate and make the decision to divide what was Kuwait and what is Iraq?
I believe that was in 47.
Here's a guy who says he's done quite a bit of research. 1922. You're struck out, you fake.
Excuse me.
WABC, let's say hello to Bert. I have to laugh. I've done quite a bit of research, and I want to tell you, nor the event, because we're certainly not. We have lauded it. It's been to the West's advantage. We've wanted it. It's only natural that the nation should be unified. So what's your problem?
Well, it seems to me that, here in America, the only Americans who want to celebrate German unification are the LaRussa people, and they've become very anti-German.
Are you a LaRussa? Are you a LaRussa? Hey, wait a minute. Hey, jerk.
Justifying Saudi Arabia.
You want me to hang up on you?
Well, how do you answer that?
Do you want me to
How do you answer that? How do you answer my point?
What is your point? Except that you mean the point at the top of your head?
Oil in Saudi Arabia. We're getting control of their oil and their economy.
I wish we could.
Well, you're anti-German, too.
You are a follower of LaRussa.
Well, you're
Aren't you?
anti-German.
Little LaRussa.
After the
Get off my phone, you sickola. We didn't have enough sickolas, now we got to have Lyndon LaRussi's calling the program. Those dopes. Quote is, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, right?
You are making a comparison that black America is that South Sea. Is that what you were trying to say?
Is that what you're worried about?
Well,
what do you have, a complex?
No, I'm just asking you a question.
Don't be absurd,
I want to ask you also if you...
this ought to be good. This ought to be good.
While you're doing the show?
I knew it. I knew it.
What do I heard or what?
You know, whenever somebody says something that
Why don't you just come out of the closet? Let me know you're a Klan member.
On WABC, let's say hello to, that was Joseph. Here's David. Sam Weiss, Cincinnati Bengal football coach, was fined $30,000 by that jerk Paul Tadyabu because he barred a female from the locker room of the Cincinnati Bengal football team after the game with the Seattle Seahawks the other night. I hope Sam Weiss appeals. I hope he can go to a higher court. I think this is abominable, just abominable. And it's going to make the feminazis even more imperious, even more arrogant, even more belligerent, even more obnoxious, even more demanding than ever before. The Dykes win again.
You probably remember a professor at CUNY named Leonard Jeffries. Made all the newspapers.
Well, of course, I know who he is. He hates America. He hates white people.
Yeah. Well, you know, he was on the first committee of that made the first proposal on the curriculum inclusion for the Board of Education, you know.
Yes.
Or the state board, and they rejected it as being too racist. And, of course, he's not just a professor at CUNY. He's the head of the Black Studies Department.
What is Black Studies, anyway? What do they study? Pigment? What do they study?
I'll get to it in a minute here. He's also, now, he not only is at CUNY, but he also organizes study groups in the black community.
What do they study? No, I'm not saying this to be. I'm not saying this to be funny. What is it that they study?
I think it's something like astrology or phrenology or something like that. I don't know.
No, it's no study. You know what it is? It's propagandizing. That's what it is.
Now, what I was really
it's fomenting trouble. That's what it is. It's not studying anything. There's nothing scholarly done.
Yeah,
they're not interested in any scholarly pursuits.
City. But
you know what? You know what? You're a sleazeball.
Mayor
You really.
Kahane is absolutely
I
right.
see. There we go with the Mayor Kahane, the Chach party. I give him a Chach party. Gee, without a doubt, this Paul Tadyabu has turned out to be a real jerk. A real jerk.
No rhyme or reason for such a fine. It was $3,000 the first.
Now we know why he succeeded Pete Rozelle.
Yes, right.
Because they wanted to get some real ultra left-wing man-hater in there, and they got. Oh yeah. Yeah, without it. Yeah, I did. It's an outrage.
Most excessive fine I've ever heard.
First of all, he shouldn't have been fined.
He's only a coach, anyway.
He shouldn't have been fined 30 cents, let alone $30,000.
Right. Should have been given a medal.
That's right.
Right. Okay, Bob.
Well, I'm going to root for the Bengals now for the rest of the year.
Right. Yes, Bob?
Frank!
Bob Grant, on Monday, the non-traditional Columbus Day will be celebrated. A day which will mark the anniversary of the greatest explorer, the greatest discoverer, one of the greatest human beings to ever step into the pages of history, the Italian Christopher Columbus. And let us never forget for 1 second, he was of the sacred tree of Italy. And instead of this being a national holiday for the most stupendous event in history of mankind, it is commemorated by cut-rate department store sales. And the cacophony of insanity will start. A cacophony of oddball, screwball, crackpot theories of who came first before Columbus. Northumbrians, Irish monks, Vikings, Chinese, you name it, they've got it. Because what we've got now, Bob Grant, is feel-good history. Everybody has to take part. We have affirmative action history. We've got a history that everyone can be part of now. And part of this is that we see, Bob, these nuts, these screwballs that they put on TV, people like John Henry Clark of City College, or that other hate tour, Leonard Jeffries, who said on TV that Christopher Columbus was a minor figure in history, a destroyer of the great civilizations of the Americas, that he founded by accident. He really didn't know where he was going. Do you think, Bob Grant, when they call this the search for historical truth, do you think we'd ever have anyone allowed on Martin Luther King Day to get on TV and critically analyze this man? Bob Grant, we've learned from you that wherever this man went and preached nonviolence, there followed a night of riot, rampage, and drunken rebelliousness. Yet never, even though he admitted that communists were part of his movement, never is there any sort of criticism of that type of historical figure. We've got a crackpot like Ivan Van Sertima saying that West Africans were here ahead of Columbus, with not one shred of evidence to support this. But you know, Bob, I think we can understand the jealousy of individuals like this. One only has to look at the magnificent edifice of European civilization to see the greatness that it has given the world. Let's face facts, Bob. Can you compare an opera by Verdi to the beating of a drum in the jungle? Happy Columbus Day, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. All right, on WABC, I'm going to repeat Frank's phone call. I've asked our distinguished engineering department to provide me with a cassette for that. I'm going to repeat it on Columbus Day because it certainly is worthy. As a matter of fact, all Frank's phone calls are worthy of repetition. I had a caller not too long ago say that he thought his phone calls should be available on tape.
I really want to call and really defame Tagliabue and Kayem, who I really am surprised these individuals can ambulate since they've exhibited a certain spinelessness teasing this vociferous now gang. Also, Bob, it was a pleasure hearing from Eddie over at Booth Memorial. I thought Peretti had croaked on us, you know?
Yeah, no, Eddie is still alive. Eddie, as a matter of fact, someday they're going to rename Booth Memorial Eddie Carbone Memorial Hospital. They're going to name the whole place after him.
Well, I know there's a wing named after Eddie right now. Eddie is really a advocate for public health, and God bless him.
Yeah, you got to love the guy.
And I got to implore Arnold to call in. Have you heard from him recently?
Arnold called yesterday.
I missed him.
Okay.
All right, Bob.
Thank you, Eric.
Of 15,000 workers. When are they going to lay you off? Do you be Gavon you? It's the end of the day, Bob.
I don't work.
Come out.
I don't work for the city, Todd.
But Bob, they should lay you off.
Todd, why did you call me Todd? I'm Bob. You're Todd. Okay. This guy doesn't even know his own name.
Saddam Hussein will have the bomb in a few years shows that he should be eliminated, and his Palestinian friends who support him should be expelled. Mayor Kahane is right. Never again. Kach to power.
Hey, you know, you three...
You have no couillons, Grant. I'll punch you right in the face, and your pal, the anti-Semite Pat Buchanan, too. You anti-Semite.
Hey, listen, you talk about couillons. When do you want to come up here?
Yeah, I'll come up right now, Grant.
No, you don't want to come up now. I'm headed out for the... all right, I'll tell you what. You be downstairs.
Rio Diner.
All right, when are you going to be there?
I'll be there with Mayor Kahane and the Kach Party.
First of all...
Bust your head.
First of all, you're not going to be there with anybody. Get off the phone, you putrid little squirt. Robert, you
want to be like you,
I'll tell you why you gave a fake phony name.
You must be a Mussolini, you know that?
Because
you should wind up hanging upside down, just like him, you know that?
Why?
Because that's what should happen to you.
No, why? Why should I?
You're a big phony, that's why you're an old...
No, you see, you give a phony name. You give a phony name on the line, and then you tell me that I'm a phony. Why did you give Roy Fredericks a phony name?
That was not essential. The number one history was...
No, you know what you are. You know what you are. You go look at the... Your punishment is you have to look in the mirror.